Back in the ring we are for fight number 4, our final matchup in the first round of the King of Sparta tournament. Let's meet the fighters. First, fighting out of the Dynamic Mortgage Concepts red corner, he's the number 4 seed. Please make welcome, Cody Custom Made Durden.
You heard Sean Patrick. It's our final fight for the first round of the King of Sparta Super Flyweight Series tournament. Cody Durden, number 4 seed, making his way to the ring.
Yeah, and Cody, I talked a little bit about this fight with Jeff. Cody Durden coming to us from Florida, down there with American Top Team, and he has been calling Jeff nonstop for months to get on this card. Jeff put him on as an alternate, and lo and behold, on a Wednesday, we had a fighter not be able to fight, and Durden finds himself in the tournament, and he couldn't be more excited to be here.
And Durden just, boy, talk about a room full of killers that you get to train with every day. Literally some of the very best in the entire world is who he gets to be in the room
And his
with.
opponent, fighting out of the Larry H. Miller blue corner, the number 5 seed. Please make welcome, Justin Parker.
And let's see if Mr. Parker can keep the trend up. Other than our first fight, the lower seeded fighter has won the other 2 fights. Parker coming in at number 5 versus Durden on number 4. So this could be a very, very intriguing matchup.
So the of course thing we're going to talk about here with Durden, coming up in altitude from Florida, see how that affects him. And you know, he wanted this fight for certain, but what was he putting into his training, knowing that he was, you know, quote unquote, only an alternate?
Right, and I have a feeling he was putting in some work, but Justin Parker, he is no joke, training at Genesis Training Center. Got his coaches in here, Luke Cadillo, getting ready to get into his corner.
Checking out the tail of the tape here, guys. Even at the age of 28 years old, only a 1-inch height advantage for Mr. Durden. Of course, they both made the 130
Fight number 4 is presented by Brandon Dodge on Broadway. It's now time to meet the fighters. First, fighting out of the Dynamic Mortgage Concepts red corner, representing American Top Team, granted from Covington, Georgia, the number 4 seed. Please make welcome, Cody Custom Made Durden. And his opponent, fighting out of the Larry H. Miller blue corner, representing Genesis Training Center and 10th Planet Denver, from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, the number 5 seed, Justin Parker. This 130-pound boxing bout is scheduled for 4 3-minute rounds.
Justin
Referee
Parker,
Stephen
very
Brea.
exciting fighter, always likes to set a very fast pace. And Durden with the experience advantage here, as we saw on tail of the tape, and basically living out a dream and coming up here for this fight that he wanted so very, very bad.
Well, for in order to anything to come through, we got to get through the first fight. Durden coming out, a stiff jab right off the bat. Looks very good on his feet, a very solid base, and that jab is hard, working a lot of lean hand work.
As we referenced from tail of the tape, a very minimal height, and we would presume reach advantage for either fighter here.
Parker doing a good job of keeping his hands up high, not absorbing a lot of punches yet, sticking his jab out as well, and trying to parry that jab is Parker, trying to land a big overhand right after that.
And Durden doing a nice job with evading, and just barely, hear coaches say it all the time, doesn't matter if you miss by an inch or if you miss by a mile, and Durden making his opponent miss by less than an inch on multiple occasions here, just out of range.
Good, big liver shot.
Durden, nice job of ring awareness, circling out of the corner, making sure he didn't get pinned.
Durden feeling confidence right off the bat, coming out. His hands are kind of sagging a little bit. He's confident in his speed, confident in his boxing, willing to trade a little bit. even to switch into southpaw.
Parker pressuring forward. Now, interestingly from Parker, I said he typically presses a very fast pace and comes out really quick, showing a lot more patience here in this boxing match.
He is being patient. That's probably a good idea against an opponent like Durden. You know, having some experience already, let him come up into Colorado, let him throw a lot of punches in round one, see if that altitude difference doesn't take a little bit of a toll.
Yes, indeed.
Another big liver shot by Durden right off the bat, switching to southpaw, throwing a good lead right hand, right back to orthodox.
And such a classic technique by Durden. Looks his opponent in the eyes and gives a little glance like I'm going upstairs, and doesn't give any hint that he's going downstairs, and throws it right to the body, and it's scored well twice for him.
And let's see if he doesn't add on to that a little bit. I'd like to see him come back up top with a left hook to the head after that big body shot. Let's see if that's not something his corner has him set up later in this fight.
Corner of Parker telling him now a little more forward pressure.
Parker doing a good job with his high guard, kind of absorbing those jabs on his forearms, not really taking him to the face, but definitely taking some big body shots so far.
Well, you called it with that, let's throw a shot to the liver and then bring it upstairs. He did exactly what you said, did Mr. Durden. 10-second clacker sounded. We're getting treated to round number 2, folks.
Parker stringing a good combo to get her at the end of that.
Not
Both fighters look pretty fresh coming in.
The Army will not only pay for your college education, but also reimburse you up to $50,000 for student loans. College tuition keeps going up, and if you want an exciting career with great opportunities, talk to the recruiters at the Fort Collins Army Recruiting Station.
I'm telling him to keep doing what he's doing. He's doing a really good job of sticking that jab out. I'd like to see a couple more punches on his combos as opposed to these 2-punch combos. Work the body and then bring it back up to the head. Let's check out the replay.
This is the one point where Mr. Parker did a nice job of really pressuring forward, and we didn't see Durden have his back against the ropes very often, but that one time that Parker pressured forward worked well for him. If I was in his corner, I'd be asking for more of that forward pressure, because you know Durden will back up, and also maybe try to get Durden pinned into a corner.
I agree with that, and now's the time to start putting that pressure on. We talked about that in the last fight. You know, one of those fighters that, you know, might have taken him a couple rounds to warm up. Well, you don't get 2 rounds to warm up in a 4-round fight. You get 1. So now's the time to start making that pressure known. See if you can't wear your opponent down a little bit.
And I think we're seeing exactly that, a faster pace out of Parker. This is more what we're used to seeing from the young man, but Durden feels that he has him hurt here.
Durden landed a good right hand. What Parker needs to do is he needs to keep that pressure on. Durden's hands have a tendency to come down low. Now he's bringing them back up. But that's where he's going to catch Durden, is in that pressure with his hands down.
I need combinations, baby. Let's go. Good.
Corner of Durden saying we need combinations, so exactly what you said, a little less of the 1 or the 1-2, and let's start putting together 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4.
Yep, and those punches from Durden, everything's coming from his waist right now. He's throwing from his chest, he's throwing from his waist, his hands are down. Parker really needs to capitalize on that. Doing a much better job at guarding his body. It was a big body shot by Durden, but it was absorbed on the elbow.
Yeah, I think he kind of learned that, hey, that body shot that Mr. Durden has is a formidable weapon, because he ate a couple of hard shots there in round 1.
But what happens when you get good at guarding that body shot, it's going to leave your temple open. So Durden has landed that twice. He needs to land it again and then come back up top, and he needs to aim for the temple, not the ear.
Well, last time you told him he should do that, he did exactly that, so let's see if he hears you again. Start calling you coach.
It's not the worst thing I've been called, that's for sure.
Again, Parker, nice job keeping his hands nice and high on the way out. We've seen some fighters earlier this evening backing out with their hands down and paying a price for it.
I'd like to see Parker drive a little bit. He's got such a good base. He's got a strong right hand. I'd like to see him drive forward and really put the pressure on. Right now, he's kind of content moving backwards and standing in front of Durden. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He needs to pressure Durden into the rope ropes. Durden has good footwork. See if he can shut down some of that, at least take away 1 or 2 angles of escape.
Yep, and right there when he did pressure, Parker came in and Durden was able to land a good right uppercut. That's the risk you take when you start pressuring forward and your hands are high. It's sometimes a little bit easier to slip up between that guard.
Oh, and again,
there it
digging,
was.
and that was almost a kidney shot.
Yeah, kidney shot, and he did come over with the left hand right after that.
Oh,
but you
faked it and came over with the right hand that time.
Yes, very good. And Durden is, you can kind of see every time he takes a step back, he takes a big, deep breath. I'd like to see the pressure stay on for Parker.
Durden, a very composed fighter. You can really see him thinking his way through this fight, planning his punches and knowing what he needs to do. Mr. Durden just has a very nice understanding of boxing here. You can see it in his game.
Yeah, a very high fight IQ, I think is what we would call that, huh?
Yes, indeed.
AVM10 is brought to you by Cowboy Dodge.
We've served the southern eastern corner of Wyoming since
1981. Locally owned and operated, we pride ourselves on making your car buying experience a pleasure at Cowboy Dodge.
Moving into round 3, I liked the pressure that Parker put on him in that round, and I'd like to see him keep that because, like I said, every time Durden steps back, he takes a big, deep breath. Let's check out the Larry Miller Nissan Honored for the replay.
Nice job by Parker keeping his hands up there. We talked about other fighters dropping their hands. No such worries with Mr. Parker, and that's part of the reason that, oh, there's that uppercut that you talked about. Doing a very nice job splitting the guard. So you talked about it with Parker. What he needs to do is keep that pressure. Durden needs to start pressuring a little more. He's doing a little bit of waiting here, and I think he just needs to try to be the first to get off.
I agree. See how they start. Good stiff jab by Durden right off the bat, and Parker coming in strong, trying to apply that pressure right away.
Good mix of punches by Parker.
Good job of parrying that jab by Parker. I'd like to see him throw just a nice straight right hand after that parry.
Yes. Digging to the body on the other side now is Durden off of his rear hand, so possibly even a little more power in that shot. But make no mistake about it, these guys in great shape. They can take a punch for sure, and decent amount of blood coming from the nose of Parker. It's all the way dripping down his leg there.
Yeah, and Durden has a very, very snappy jab. It's powerful, it's strong, it's quick, and I think that's probably what's done a majority of the damage to Parker's nose right there. There's another one. He just kind of sneaks in there.
Snap back, yes, sir. So see if it's the proverbial blood in the water here for Durden.
Durden doing a really good job of, like we talked in that last fight, touching with the jab, touch, power shot, touch, power shot. Not trying to gas himself out, and a big right hand to the body.
Oh, Parker answers nicely. Durden was taking some deep breaths there. Parker looks to answer back, make sure the judges don't think he's going to start slowing down here. Not sure.
Oh, good right hand. Good right hand by Parker, but he's eaten a few too many of those jabs. He needs to move his head a little bit more, get back to parrying that jab. Big body shot again.
Parker answers nicely with another right hand, though. I'm not sure how much the nose is busted up of Parker. I mean, obviously he's bleeding quite a bit, but I don't know where I'm going with this is I don't know if it's causing breathing problems for him yet or not.
Right, and that is what you worry about.
If he wins, how's it going to play out later in the tournament? How damaged is it? How much more is it going to bleed if he takes another shot later in the fight?
Good job, touch by Durden. Big power shot again. Parker answers again, though. Every time Durden lands a hard shot, Parker has answered this round.
That was almost a little rope-a-dope by Parker there, let himself get backed into the corner and use the opportunity to fire off a couple of hard shots on his way around.
Another snappy jab by Durden.
Well, we talked about it between rounds, how we'd like to see Parker continue the pressure, and so far it's been almost all Durden this round doing the stepping forward. Parker answering nicely at times with his flurries, but Durden definitely the one pressuring the action here in the third.
I think that's probably something that Steve Mestis in his corner told him You know, let's not let Parker start pressuring us to try to grind us down. Let's go ahead and apply the pressure. If we're going to get winded, it's going to be our doing, not theirs.
Oh, and a big right hand just stops Parker in his forward motion. And calling for the doctor
Attention
to
to
come
all
in and take a look at
VIPs
the nose
for
of
seating.
Mr.
If you haven't
Parker
gotten
as
to have dinner
referee
yet, they
Steve
will have
Leia.
more food here in about
So,
20 minutes. Hang tight.
round
We'll let you know
4.
when it arrives. Again, VIPs, if you have not gotten food yet, it will be here shortly.
Coming up.
Thank you for your patience.
Well, we made it to fight number 4 before our beautiful brand new Sparta Sports Entertainment canvas got blood on it, and now it will perpetually have it. Let's look at the replay from round number 3.
Durden pressuring forward and just almost a running start at that body shot. We heard that one thud, and then we talked about Parker. He takes a shot and then immediately fires back. No coach could ask for more.
No, not at all. And if I'm in Parker's corner right now, Jake and Luke have got to be telling him we're down on the scorecards. This is where it's time. We got to start throwing our power shots. We got to finish the fight in this round. And I look for him to come out very fast-paced in this first opening part of round number 4.
Trying to get a handle on what the doctor's saying. What I got there was he gave a nod to the referee, which says he's good to go. So.
Yeah, and if I'm in Durden's corner, I think round 3 was fought perfectly for him. He needs to come back out and fight exactly the same way.
Agreed.
Use that snappy jab, get that nose bleeding again, try to interrupt the breathing of Parker.
And I think Durden's feeling it too. He's like, hey, I got that round. Things went well for me. That'll energize a fighter a little bit, and I think we're seeing that here with Durden. Although now it's Parker that's the one that's stepping forward, but boy, he's met with another hard body shot.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more head movement from Parker. He's doing a great job of pressuring, but he's eating a lot of shots when he does it, and he's just kind of slip to the side when he comes in.
And that comes a lot of times when a fighter starts to feel, hey, maybe I'm a little bit behind. I need to start getting some really hard shots in that have a tendency to plant their feet and not move quite as much because they're just looking to line up that power shot.
Yeah, Durden feeling very confident. His hands are kind of coming down. He's moving his head a little bit, trying to bait Parker in to land that big shot. See that right hand's cocking up.
Yeah, Durden loading up that right hand, no doubt about it.
I've been very impressed with Durden. I know we've talked about this earlier, but his fight IQ. Everything he lands is with a purpose. He's setting punches up. And even when his hands are down, he's using that to set something up. Another big liver shot by Durden.
And boy, that's something that if the other fighters are in the back watching, and if it's Mr. Parker that were to continue in this, you know, he's taking some of those hard shots to the body. Might that be a target for other fighters? Sure, there's a coach back there checking us out on Facebook Live somewhere.
I'm sure there is. Just remember, folks, this is the last fight on Facebook Live. Switch on over to SpartaSE.com to grab the pay-per-view. 18 total fights on this pay-per-view card. It is going to be one heck of a night.
And corner of Parker's starting to get in his ear a little bit, telling him, you got to go, you got to go. There's only a minute left in the fight. Durden taking a couple of deep breaths, but I think those are kind of the I see the finish line breaths. Let's gather up some energy here and let's do our best to have a really nice, strong finish.
I agree with you. Durden at the end of round 2 looked like he might be slowing down a little bit. He caught a great second wind in the third and has just continued to pressure in this 4th round. Big body shots again.
And Durden stepping almost purposefully on the foot of his opponent. Saw him look down at that and then step on his opponent's foot.
You know, it's one of those things where if you can get away with it, you do, but a lot of times, especially a referee of this caliber is going to catch that.
He did not get away with it. Let's call it tactics. 10-second clacker sounded. Parker trying to put it on his opponent. Durden looking to be evasive now. Doesn't want to eat a hard shot in the last couple of seconds of the fight.
So Entertainment,
looks like judges are going to earn their money on this one. And Parker's shaking his head with a little bit of frustration.
All VIP fans on the
Durden
floor will
putting
have
his
more
hand
food
up
here in
and
about 25
a little bit of
minutes.
victory pose there.
And I do have to agree. I think Durden's probably won this fight. That was a great fight all around, though. Parker is just such a tough kid. And we got to remember, this is his professional debut.
In
everything.
There's no easy outs tonight, that's for sure. And, well, we talked about it. Durden called, wanted the fight, was put in as an alternate. That played out well for him because here he is on the Larry H. Miller Nissan replay, starting to take control as the fight wore on in the later rounds, and he catches Parker with his feet planted right there. It took a punch to get Parker back into motion. He was almost a little bit frozen for a moment.
I agree with that, and it'll be interesting if Durden can make it through the kickboxing fight. I'm not sure what his background is there, but you don't get those kind of ears and you don't get that tattoo on your back without having some miles on you on the wrestling mats.
That's for sure. Good head work by Durden. Again, just the ability to read his opponent as he's coming forward. He did take some shots, but he was typically rolling with them. So. And we do have a decision because I saw the referee telling the fighters go ahead and take the gloves off.
And before we hit the decision, let me let you guys know one more time. First fight up on the pay-per-view, Nemanja Jokic versus William Vanderveer. Nemanja's older brother playing tonight in Game 7 of the NBA playoffs. Looking to make a name for himself. He's currently undefeated with a couple of finishes. You guys aren't going to want to miss that first fight on the pay-per-view. Get on over to SpartaSE.com, buy the pay-per-view, and watch the next fight.
Big night for the Jokic brothers, my goodness.
Yeah, if your parents, where do you go?
Oh, my. Oh, ouch.
About to find out who the favorite child is.
Sean has the official word, but we can't get the gloves off. All right, there we go.
Seems to be a common theme.
After 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored the bout 40, 30, 60, declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Cody Durden.
Mr. Durden. Those phone calls
back with a post-fight interview and a match in the
Sparta
cage
Combat
and
League
the
CEO
ring
Jeff
simultaneously.
Cisneros saying, please put
moment.
me in the tournament. He moves on to round number 2. We'll get a word from a couple of sponsors, and then he'll be with Mr. Cody Momarts for the post-fight interview.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by your victor, Mr. Cody Durden. Now, while we might have the same name in common, what we do not have in common is you're moving on to round 2 of King of Sparta, which is kickboxing. Walk me through your fight, how you prepared for it, what your mindset was like going in.
I just wanted to pace myself, man. You know, it's going to be a long night. And ain't no doubt about it, that belt's going to be around my waist.
I love it. You did say it is a long night, and with King of Sparta, it is. It's a show of athleticism. It's a challenge of athleticism. You're going to go back in the locker room and prepare. What's that preparation going to look like?
Nothing, man. I'm already prepared. That's why I showed up. I made weight, and I'm here. So that's all I need to do is make weight.
Now, you're here, and some of your fans are here. Anything you want to say to these fans in the crowd tonight?
What's up, Sparta? Hey, this is your champ here. I'll have that belt at the end of the night.
Back to you, Sean.